Welcome to Light. We've got breaking news here. So the Trump team's attempt to steal the election is being thwarted at every single turn. If you've been following this and you haven't only been watching OAN or Newsmax, you already know that. Well, the Supreme Court actually had to get involved on this case. Supreme Court denies Trump allies' bid to overturn Pennsylvania election results. The Supreme Court on Tuesday denied a last-minute attempt by President Trump's allies to overturn the election results in Pennsylvania, a blow to the president's continuing efforts to protest his loss to Democrat Joe Biden. So, where does it go over how many? I'm sure it goes over it somewhere here, but we don't need to read this entire article. They were trying to throw out 2.5 million votes in Pennsylvania. Because that's how much they love and care about democracy, right? Like, that's what all this posturing has been about, like, over the past, month, has been, like, oh my god, these Democrats don't care about fair and reasonable elections, or whatever the fuck. Okay, well, listen. Obviously, you don't care at all about democracy, which is the whole backbone of having an election. It's like the entire superstructure of having an election is democracy. Okay? When you're trying to throw out 2 million votes here, 12,000 votes here, 28,000 votes there, millions of other votes here, when you're literally just trying to invalidate any vote that didn't go to you, I would have to say that you're the one who doesn't give a flying fuck about anything to do with democracy. And I would say that that's probably like the easiest statement, if you know what the term democracy means, to make in like your entire life. The Trump team does not care about you. They don't even care about their allies, let alone the opposition. Like, of course they don't care about anyone aligned with any Democrat on anything. Of course they don't care about, their voting base even. Now, they want more voters, but they don't care about their voters. They care about getting more voters. Like, that's the differences. Like, they do, like, all these pandering tours, like they've done for the past 4 years, to get as many voters as possible. But if you literally go down line by line, like, what have any of Trump's decisions done to help your life? Because I would venture to guess almost nothing. Nothing at all. Certainly hasn't helped anyone I know. Now, they like to say he has, but when you ask them, usually what they're talking about is the fact that, like, he took transgendered people out of the military, that he's building a wall, which he did not build, by the way. He was building the wall. And I mean, most of the parts that he built it on, we already had borders in the first place. It's just, there's literally no end, it seems, anymore. There is absolutely no end to the irrational sort of inner dialogue in a lot of people, to where what they justify their positions as is not based on anything in reality. It's just based on whether or not it's good or bad for Trump. That's pretty much their entire decision-making process. And that is not a decision-making process. If your decision-making process is just whether something's good or not for a particular figure, I'm sorry, but that's just a cult mindset. It's not at all controversial to say that that is a cult mindset, and that it is nothing more, nothing less. Cult behavior is when you basically, you start with the conclusion that the cult leader is good, right? And then all of your decision-making processes have to point to this. If they don't point to this, it doesn't matter whether or not they're objectively verifiable. They're just not true in your world anymore. That is really, really dumb, to say the least. It's just very dumb. It's not smart. It's also just, it's very corrosive to reason in general. Which it's so funny because so many of the right wingers over the past few years pretended like, because they had their like figures like Ben Shapiro, they pretended like they were the ones that cared about facts over feelings. Well, that's all it was pretending. Because when it comes down to it, they will throw the facts right the fuck out of the window the second it contradicts with their assumed conclusion. That's not actually how you come up with ideas. That's how you come up with justifications for assumed conclusions. And in this case, the assumed conclusion that they're starting with is that Donald Trump is good. Could you at least have an assumed conclusion that, it might be naive, but it's much more wholesome, like, I don't know, like, all people are good. And I'll never let that go because I believe all people are good. So I'm going to, even though it might be irrational sometimes, and you might show me, like, statistics of war and famine and all sorts of things that are horrible that people do, like, I'm going to just say that people are good, and I'm going to, like, keep that conclusion, and everything I'm going to do is work backward to justify this conclusion. No, that's not what they're doing this over. They're doing this over Trump is good, and Trump is holy and righteous and correct. That is sad. They're doing irrational, mental gymnastic thinking for Trump. I couldn't imagine a more embarrassing cult leader. Like, start a cult about something a little cooler than an orange, egomaniacal, born with a silver spoon in his mouth, absolutely establishment. That'll trigger a lot of you. He's not established, but he wasn't a politician. Okay, well, first of all, everything he's done governing has been establishment as fuck if you pay attention to that, but you probably don't. You just probably pay attention to what he says. Everything that you can follow that he's done governing is establishment as fuck. But just because he says he is and he's not, right? Yeah, and also he's been the president. I mean, how much more establishment could you get than that? But yeah, you're doing it over somebody who is absolutely establishment, absolutely xenophobic, bigoted, and honestly, overall, quite stupid. I mean, I know, like, you guys like to think, like, he's, like, playing, like, 18D chess, but, like, if we're really being honest with ourselves, the motherfucker does not actually have a very, very large brain. Okay, his brain is, like, non-existent. He doesn't possess normal mental, logical faculties. And all he possesses is, like, doggedly, aggressively saying what he wants to be true. Like, that's not intelligence. I don't know what to tell you, but that's not what constitutes being a smart person. So, regardless, it's so sad and embarrassing that that is the leader that this group of people has latched onto so hard into just literally believing something that they would have considered insanity a few years ago. They also would still to this day consider insanity if Trump won and anyone on the left was doing a fourth of what they have been doing. That's the beautiful thing. The hypocrisy is never ending. But regardless, Pennsylvania, you got your votes. Thank God. Even with the 3 appointed Trump appointees on the Supreme Court, they struck this the fuck down. Thank God. Because I'm pro-democracy. I want every vote counted. And to pretend that there's like 76 million illegal votes and 74 million legal votes. I mean, that's, first of all, like, I thought you guys are like a lot of conspiracy theorists over there. Like, isn't that like the definition of something that's a little too convenient? Right? Everyone who voted for me, that was a good legal vote. Everyone who didn't, that was an illegal vote. That was a corrupt criminal vote. I mean, that is beyond too convenient. But regardless, I mean, it's I don't even know why I'm trying to reach out, because you don't want to hear anything that contradicts with what Trump says. Nothing. This has been Light. Subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, leave a like. And I got more videos coming up for you later. Light is out.